America today is a politically and spiritually divided nation. And I'm not talking about Republicans and Democrats. The core beliefs that divide most people, left and right, liberal and conservative, are these questions. Is God sovereign? Does he rule in the affairs of humans and nations? Has God spoken? And if so, is what he says authoritative in 21st century America? Does God give us human rights that no government can take away? In most cases, the political right answers absolutely to all these questions, and the left answers absolutely not. So, at its heart, Americans don't have political disagreements. We have spiritual disagreements that are played out in our politics. Now, the answer to these questions in 1776 was quite clear, and it's enshrined in our founding document, the Declaration of Independence, where we read, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. The Declaration lays out the principles of government in the opening two paragraphs. There is a Creator who gives inalienable rights, rights that cannot rightfully be taken away by the government, because they were given by God. The Creator has given us a moral law to govern us. Government's job is to protect those rights and enforce those laws. Now, below those rights, the government is to rule by the consent of the governed. James Madison, the fourth president and the father of the Constitution, said, "We have staked the whole of our political institutions upon the capacity of mankind for self-government, upon the capacity of each and all of us to govern ourselves, to control ourselves, to sustain ourselves according to the 10 Commandments of God." However, America has been cast adrift from the anchor, the Constitution, and from the ideals of our founding. In fact, 53% of Americans say government is infringing on their rights and freedoms. Now, those are God-given rights. 33% believe that it was the infringement upon rights that caused the war with Great Britain in 1775. God has spoken clearly against abortion, against welfare, against income redistribution, against homosexuality, gay marriage. And God has spoken for the death penalty. The Bible is clear. God created the heavens and earth and everything they contain. Most conservatives embrace these absolute principles and believe rights come from God. The founders and the framers of the Constitution agreed as well. However, most liberals are in open rebellion against God on these issues and are driving America toward a totally secular, atheistic society. Now let's examine this more closely. Historian Barbara Tuchman said, quote, "A nation's history determines its present actions, but only in terms of what citizens believe their history to have been. Your past affects your present, but not so much what happened, but what you believe happened. It's not what occurred, but what you were told occurred. And a nation not familiar with its true history is open to deception and manipulation. And that is the situation America finds itself in today." One such part of American history that Americans have been deceived about is the Civil War. fact, even its name is deceptive. One main point that has been obscured is that the outcome of this war fundamentally changed the United States, setting the groundwork for our current secular society and a massive federal government that overtly attacks Christianity. Now, by secular, I mean not religious at best and anti-religious at worst. Secularists try to remove God from our culture. And what are we traditionally told is the main reason for the Civil War? Well, the main reason for the war between the states was a counter-revolution based in a shift in theology. We will look at what caused the shift and how the results of the war affect us today. But the war was a theological shift because all revolutions are based on theology. And everyone is a theologian, whether a committed Christian or atheist, because your belief about God, humans, the role of government, are theological and determine your actions. Now, we often hear that America was founded as a Christian nation. What does that mean?